the meeting of the North Fair Oaks Council to order, Thursday, February 27th, 2014. Oh, and we have new people who just showed up. All right, I am Laura Kaplan, the chair of the council, and I'm going to ask, starting at that end, if we can do our roll call by having the council members say their name.
I am John Schott.
Beatriz Cerrillo.
Dale Miller.
Linda Lopez.
Rafael Amendaño.
And we have Jenny Corral on leave from the council currently, and not here tonight, Nereda Guzman and Esperanza Vasquez. Anyone who would like to comment on something that is not on the agenda tonight, I believe we have speaker slips at the back, and people are welcome to speak up to 2 minutes on, again, what is something that is not on the agenda. I think we also have agendas for people who want them. So is there anyone who would like to speak on a topic that is not on tonight's agenda? All right, then let's go to the approval. Here is Esperanza. We will go to the approval of minutes. We have, having had the council members, I believe, have had a chance to review the minutes for the council meeting that was held January 23rd. Have you had a chance to review? Are there any comments? And is there a motion to approve?
I'll motion that we approve the minutes as written.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, I believe that has,
I was absent last meeting, so I cannot.
okay, fine, thanks. And we have Irving taking minutes tonight, is that correct?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, then we'll move on to the report from the supervisor's office. And as I do not see the supervisor here tonight, I'm assuming that's going to be you, Irving Torres.
Yeah.
All right. Unfortunately, Supervisor couldn't be here tonight, so I will be reporting on behalf of the supervisor. A couple of weeks ago, Supervisor Slocum attended a grand reopening of the tattoo removal program. Unfortunately, the program was halted when the equipment broke down, so the tremendous effort by numerous organizations, including SAL and Redwood City Police Department, had like fundraisers, and they were actually able to buy this equipment. So I think it was a huge collaborative effort, and so it's just amazing to have this program reopened again. Yesterday, HSA, Human Services Agency, and Code for America has officially launched a kickoff to the SMC Connect. And they held a training event yesterday. Human Services Agency is going to be making a presentation to the council next month, so you'll get more details and information on that. It was the application that Code for America worked with HSA to develop, and as of yesterday, it's been officially launched, and so more details will soon follow in the next council meeting. The Poet Laureate, so Supervisor Slocum held an event along with Supervisor Groom for the celebration of San Mateo County's first ever Poet Laureate, and there was over 100 poets there. It was an amazing event out there. It was actually held at downtown San Mateo Library. It was just great to just have all the poets there and just recognize the first ever San Mateo County Poet Laureate. Next Saturday, Supervisor Slocum, along with Councilwoman Alicia Aguirre, are going to actually be doing like a training for the North Fair Oaks Youth Initiative in terms of the importance of being a representative and civic engagement. So that's going to be held next Saturday at the Redwood City Chambers. Information, San Mateo County Union Community Alliance, Libre, and North Fair Oaks, or the Fair Oaks Community Council, is going to be launching the Health Enrollment Fair here at this center. And that's going to be on this Saturday from 8 to 3 p.m. Today is actually going to be the launch of the NFO Forward website, and I know there's going to be more talks about that later on. So I don't want to talk about that. My colleague will actually be talking more about that. There is on Wednesday, March 5th, at 8:30 p.m. here at the Fair Oaks Community Center. There's going to be a public workshop about 101/105 Fifth Avenue that's being proposed by the Mental Health Association of San Mateo County. As you know, they've done a presentation here in the council a couple of meetings back. And so this is going to be a pre-application workshop, a chance for to get public input and to know about what this whole process is going to be like. So once again, that's going to be next Wednesday, March 5th at 8:30 p.m.
8:30 p.m.?
6:30?
Oh, 7 p.m., sorry, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. On March 21st, Friendship Park, there's going to be a whole bill day. Just a reminder out for that. So we need 200 volunteers for that. So in order to sign up, please contact the Sheriff's Activities League and just spread the word about that. So that's going to be on March 21st, and I'll be more than happy to send out all informations and contacts for that as well.
Well, there will also perhaps be something on the NFO Forward, which we're going to hear about later.
Yeah.
As a way to sign up for that.
Yeah. And then there was another one this Saturday. It's the launch of Take a Hike. And it's going to be held at Flood Park, and it's going to start at 9 a.m. So for those of you that are interested or want to register or know more information about the Take a Hike program, you can call 650-599-1306. And then last but not least, a couple of constituents actually called the supervisor in terms of a noise issue at Key Market, so on Florence Street. And so we were able to actually contact environmental health, and they were able to identify the noise, and it was basically just a malfunction by the refrigeration machine out there. And so they were able to take care of it, and they were able to fix that malfunction and so forth. So, and I think that's about it for the supervisor's report. Do you have any questions?
No, did you say health enrollment fair?
Yeah.
Is that for the Obamacare?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Well, Irving, you could stay there. I was going to announce that we had a couple of cancellations on our agenda this evening. So it gives us a little bit of extra time, and I thought what thing we might do in our council member reports is to give a short overview of what's been happening with our council subcommittees. We have 2 subcommittees that have been working on illegal dumping, and the other one working on looking at CSA 8 and funds to see if there is any opportunity for taking away to use those funds for community benefit. And so I thought we'd start with the illegal dumping committee, just give us a short update of what's going on in that. And I think you said you, Irving, are the one who is going to report on that, is that correct?
Along with the council, and that would be probably under like the council reports in
Right.
terms of updates and information.
Exactly.
So
So that's under the council reports, but
Yeah.
who on the council? I was going to.
it would probably be Esperanza or John Schott, but
Okay.
so yeah, that will be just information. So I guess I can provide a little debrief, and then maybe in the council reports that you can talk further about that. So the committee has met last week to kind of take some action items, and so some of the action items that were taken was obviously to organize the North Fair Oaks Community Cleanup Event, and so that's going to be actually held on May 31st, which is a Saturday. It's going to be from 9 a.m. to noon. And so we've actually sent out kind of an introductory meeting to kind of talk about the logistics of that and how all that's going to work out. So that's one action item. Another one is we're actually going to be setting up a meeting with hopefully the Sheriff's Department and then also Recycle Works to talk about some kind of presentation or information to target the elementary schools. So we're going to hopefully try to reach out to Fair Oaks Elementary School in Garfield, work with the organizations to kind of give a presentations in terms of the importance of picking up trash and combating illegal dumping, and also maybe possibly to launch, to talk about the application that's going to be coming out later this year. And then another action item that we're going to be doing is we're going to be working to set up a recommendation that's going to be presented to the council and then eventually to the Board of Supervisors. That's going to list in terms of efforts of outreach, as well as ordinance, and then as well as other other topics that the committee is planning and writing up. And then another one was in terms of the signage. So we're right now talking in terms of how the signage is going to be used, what should be included in terms of should it be bilingual, should it have a visual image, should it have an ordinance included in the sign, and so forth. So the committee is still working on that. We're going to be, hopefully, at the next study session, talk about the signage, and then hopefully present that at the next North Fair Oaks Community Council in terms of how the results of the vote and how the signage is going to look like. So,
Thank you. So since we're on to reports from council members, are there any council members on that committee who would like to add to that?
Well, the only thing that I would like to add is number one, I think we've got excellent support from the county, a number of different departments on this issue. I believe we all agree that there is no one solution to problems of illegal dumping, that there's an educational element, there is an enforcement element, probably ideally increasing fines, for example, to the point that people are discouraged from dumping, maybe even a technology element in terms of video surveillance to be able to hopefully identify some of the people that are chronically dumping in areas. And so I think there will be, I expect there will be a set of recommendations that the subcommittee will likely develop and bring to the entire council at a future meeting in hopes that that would then ultimately go to the Board of Supervisors.
Thank you, John. I will say a few words on the CSA8 committee, which is the other subcommittee that we have also met, and the impetus for this was that there had been reported to be some funds available that potentially could be used for a community benefit. And our committee was to look at the guidelines and regulations for how those funds could be utilized, and also take a look at, what would be the appropriate possible ways that could be used. So we started with an overview, learning about the whole CSA process and oversight, and we also had a list of, items, wish list items that had come from various meetings that were held with the community. And in our discussions, we kind of zeroed in on some areas so far. We also are in process, so this is just an interim report for both committees, but in terms of the top areas that seemed as though they would be appropriate for CSA8 funds, we were looking at one area having to do with parks and trees and green space and maintenance, another area having to do with sewage, more like flooding kinds of issues, because in that area there are issues with water drainage. For example, we learned that when there's a lot of hardscape in the area, a lot of sidewalks, a lot of covering the ground, it exacerbates the flooding problems. So part of this is an education, part of it is an infrastructure issue. So that was the second area. And the third area we looked at as potential for funds was the illegal dumping arena, which we understand and know that our colleagues on the other committee are coming up with some recommendations. So we thought that might also be an area to study. These would all be areas of community benefit that potentially would be eligible for CSA funds. So again, we're in process on that, and that's what I wanted to say about that. Was there anybody else on that committee who would like to comment?
Yeah, there were, actually, we started with that list of about 34 items, as Laura pointed out, and basically had to separate out the items that we feel would even qualify for CSA 8 funds, and then separate those from items that might be covered under Measure A funding. So just doing that took a while. So we did single out, actually, there were 3 items on the list that we thought were more, it would be more appropriate to set up like educational campaigns. And that was the passive stormwater treatment, illegal dumping, and which is in line with what your committee's talking about, but also the lighting. Just basic neighborhood lighting. A lot of people don't know about the process of getting a petition or what the procedure is or what the process is on that. So some of these things are people need information and education. But yeah, I think it's moving along, so that's about it.
And all of those meetings are open. As we'll talk about the future work group meetings, all kinds of things. We're always inviting participation. Are there any other council member reports for this evening?
Yeah, I have one. I have 2, actually. I wanted to announce that Siena Youth Center will be holding a Covered California enrollment on Saturday, March 15th from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Quiero anunciar que Siena Youth Center va a tener un tiempo de registrar a todos para el Obamacare. Sábado, marzo 15, de 1 p.m. a 5 p.m. Si quieren venir, están invitados todos en la comunidad. I also like to announce that on Wednesday, Wednesday, February 21st, I believe, or last week on Wednesday, the supervisor and his team and I went on a tour of the Ashland Reach Center, which is a youth center that was started from the county of Alameda County with Supervisor Nate Miley. And we got to learn of how a supervisor was, inspired by a group of young people to start a really beautiful youth center that's completely youth-focused, and how it's ran really organic, I like to say. I would appreciate it if everyone who wants to learn more about this just goes on Supervisor Slocum's Facebook page or on the NFL Forward. I'm sure they're going to do an article about it, but it's going to be great because it was a great tour led by one of the founders of the building. And we also had lunch with Francisco Cermeño, who's running for Hayward mayor. And we also got to tour downtown Hayward, which was another awesome tour because we got to see the beautification of Hayward and the art, the murals, and the new overpass. So please keep a lookout for the news as far as that tour and what we saw last week, because I think that you will be really, inspired to see where we can have Middlefield Road and possibly this community in the future, because it's a good layout that they have going there. Thank you.
Are there any other council member reports?
Not for me.
All right, so we'll go on to the sheriff's report, and we have from the sheriff's office tonight.
Hi, I'm Todd Nato, Sergeant with our Community Policing School Resource Unit. So I was asked to present to you tonight the year-to-date totals for 2012 and 2013. Excuse me, I'm fighting a little bit of a cold here. So for the total dispatch and self-initiated calls for 2012, there was 14,093. For the year of 2013, total dispatch and self-initiated calls, 13,339. For crime-related, reported, and self-initiated activities, we break it down to types. Homicide, there was 0 for both years. Rapes, 2013, where there were 7. 2012, there were 3. Robbery, the total year-to-date for 2012 was 12, and for 2013 was 15. Assaults, and just general assaults, for the year 2012, 145 to 129. For burglary and other is commercial and residential burglaries. For 2012, it was 145 compared to 129. Burglary, just autos, there were 45 in 2012 to 36 in 2013. Thefts, there were, sorry, I lost my place here. Thefts, there were 58 in 2012 to 131 in 2013. Auto thefts, 17 in 2012, 70 in 2013. Arson, 1 in 2012, 3 reported in 2013. Kidnaps, 2, 2012 to 7 in 2013. I think it would just be easier. The first one I read will be 2012. The second one. So, firearm discharge, 290 compared to 256. Suspicious circumstance, and it includes people and vehicles. There were 1,326 reported to 936. Disturbances includes family and neighbors. There was 1,277 compared to 1,226. Drug activities, 158 to 123. Vandalisms, 62 and 119. Intoxicated person, 93 and 118. Alarms, 735 to 661. Medical emergencies, 64 compared to 56. Domestic violence, 89 compared to 106. And then total activity or total crimes in this column for 2012, 4,471. And last year, 4,118. We break it down a little further into traffic-related, and then citations, and then arrests. So just total enforcement stops for 2012 were 1,752, and 2013, 1,837. Out of those enforcement stops, 61 drunk drivers were arrested in 2013, and 63 in 2012. Abandoned vehicles, 33 compared to 23. Vehicles towed, 158 compared to 178. Traffic investigations, and includes speeding vehicles, reckless drivers, parking violations, traffic hazards, and traffic controls. 595 compared to 868. Accidents total, 252 compared to 193. Out of those accidents, property, non-injury, 208 compared to 169, and then injury, 44 compared to 24. Total traffic accident or total traffic activities, 2,784 compared to 3,229. And then citations issued, moving citations, 644 compared to 737. Parking citations, 5,984 compared to 5,144. For a total of traffic citations, 6,635 compared to 5,883. And then just total arrest, for felony arrest for 2012, we had 117. Last year was 157. Misdemeanor arrest, 93 in 2012 compared to 339 in 2013. for total arrests of 210 in 2012, and in 2013, 496. Any questions?
I noticed quite a bit of variation in some areas. Is there any kind of explanation? One question I have is, has your staffing been fairly consistent?
Staffing has been consistent. I can sit up here and say there's more criminals, released in the last year, or there's more people reporting crimes. So, we don't have the exact reasons why there's such a fluctuation, but I don't want to sit up here, make excuses or, so we have no actual stats on that. Yes, sir.
Through the chair. Oh, excuse me.
I was going to ask, in your professional opinion, when you look at those numbers and think about the year, are there trends or patterns that you find particularly troubling that sort of are somewhat ominous in your view?
No, for the most part, they're pretty consistent. I think they've gone down this last year. A few of them have gone up, but, total crimes, 4,118 compared to 4,471 the year before. So, it went down 300. But no, there's nothing troubling.
Okay.
I think, I've been in this field for over 20 years, and it's just kind of been consistent throughout those 20 years.
And I presume in some areas where you see an increase in arrests, that it may be a matter of more proactive police activity on your part, as opposed to necessarily an increase in total crime, I would think.
Yeah, I think Lieutenant Reed, back in January, stated one of the teams had a great success rate in catching a lot of the daytime burglars. And so, I think that's great credit to that team. And not to say that's the better team than any of the other 3 teams or 4 teams that are down here, but right place at the right time. My unit has assisted them because we work days. We're 8 strong. We are, detailed out of North Fair Oaks here on Edison. So we're helping them a lot ourselves, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to request that council members get a copy of your report.
Yes.
Has that ever been done?
Not to my knowledge,
Well, I'd
but
like to start a procedure.
I will let the lieutenant know.
Because it's a lot of numbers. so-
It is a lot of numbers, and it'd be a lot better if you guys all had a copy
Yeah.
in front of you to follow along.
But to see the comparison be year to year
Yes.
is good. I did have a question about, under disturbances,
Mhm.
you said it was family and something. I
And
forgot.
neighbor.
But it was a big number. It was
That could
like-
just be a verbal squabble between 2 neighbors or
so-
family members.
Did you pull the domestic violence number out of that? Or is that a separate?
It's a separate,
You do a separate stat?
Yes.
For domestic violence?
uh-huh.
Okay. And then the numbers for citations, those are primarily because of the street sweeping? Or
For
it's
the
not?
parking, most of them are street sweeping.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's huge.
About
I actually-
5,000 a year for
Yeah, that's huge.
parking.
So I have one more question I thought of. I was just curious, do you differentiate on any of these numbers between what you identify as gang-related activity and non?
We do not, no.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to add, Sergeant Fernando, we really appreciate this information, especially for not just organizations we work with, but other organizations that view this telecast, because it allows us to be strategic with our approach towards seeing what needs to be done more to help you guys, So we really appreciate it. We were talking about it last council meeting, and our wish was granted, so thank you.
No worries, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, one more question.
Sure.
So I'm sorry, the answer to Chairperson Kaplan's question was you don't single out? What was the answer about the gang-related cases?
So it doesn't
You don't
break it
do it,
down
break it.
to if it was an assault, if it was assault by a
Do you
gang
have a
member.
separate
or
stat on that? What's-
I believe they do not do a separate stat on that.
You're kidding, really?
So,
I'm surprised.
yeah. You know, we can talk to our crime analyst and see if they can make it a separate stat. But again, I'd have to talk with Lieutenant Reed to see if we can do that.
Or whether they identify it at the
Yeah.
time. That's the question.
I know when we have our gang task force, they do a summer deployment. They go out and they keep their own stats on that stuff also.
So can the council have access to that information?
I will
So
see-
we can see what the status is on what is the state of on gangs in North Fair Oaks?
I will let Lieutenant Reed know
State.
and see if we can get you that information.
I think just to add, is it the same thing with location? Like finding that specific, where locations?
It would be tough because the gang task force is countywide.
Yeah,
You know, we do focus on areas, North Fair Oaks, areas of Redwood City, San Mateo, Daly City. So it's all around, but
okay.
we'll see what we can do.
So I think what our council member here was referring to about the last meeting is that when we had our committee meeting, some of the discussion came up about what statistics your office keeps and what the council receives. And so I think we were just discussing and talking about perhaps in the future, we'd like to have a more formalized report. But I don't know, we haven't made a formal request to that
Okay.
effect, but that was what we were just discussing. And so we may come at some point in the future and see if a discussion can be had about what is available that we could formalize either in a report to the council or possibly even to the public in some way. That was where that came from. So just to know.
Very
I
good.
think just to add, because we have a ton of work groups that are working on different efforts, and I think the more information everyone has, the more we can support you guys as a team.
Yeah, we say, you know, see something, say something, give us a call. A lot of people are afraid to call, but, you know, please don't hesitate. And also, I don't know the exact website, but there is a website that the county has that gives a breakdown of the criminal activity in the area. And the Part 1 crimes or the felony crimes, you're not going to get the disturbances or the parking citations and stuff like that, but you're going to get the burglaries or arson or something like that.
So we probably should try to get more information about that website
I will do
for
that.
next time.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and do we have a report from the California Highway Patrol tonight? Captain Maskarich.
Yes, good evening, members of the council, members of the North Fair Oaks community. My name is Mike Maskarich. I'm a captain with CHP. I'm the area commander for the California Highway Patrol out of Redwood City. Just to kind of echo what Sergeant Fanato said, we've been working very closely with our counterparts in the Sheriff's Department, addressing quality of life issues down here in the North Fair Oaks community and throughout San Mateo County. We're primarily responsible for traffic enforcement and taking traffic collision reports that would take place in unincorporated areas, including the North Fair Oaks community. Where we're at year to date is similar on par with where we were for 2013. We have 14 collisions that had taken place within this community year to date. That's consistent with, as I said, where we were at in 2013, but it's down from 17, which was in 2012. One of the things that we implemented here in January of this year was a special enforcement team. It's 5 motorcycle officers. They focus strictly on traffic enforcement. They move throughout the county, but North Fair Oaks is a very important part of their rotation through the area, and we don't have it set so that an individual would know, okay, well, this team's going to be here on one given day, so, you know, don't worry because we're not going to be driving through that area. They show up, they work several hours in a certain area, and then they move through another part of the county. It has been very evident when I look at the statistics here for the North Fair Oaks community for year to date that we've seen a significant decrease in crashes that are related to speed, from 5 where we were at last year to 1 this year. Our primary collision factor appears to be unsafe turning movements. Those are somewhat difficult to enforce because they don't happen until the turn takes place. So until somebody makes that unsafe turn, having a visible presence in the area is very important to just overall traffic enforcement. It's one of the things we want to emphasize. We've only had 2 DUI collisions year to date. Any DUI collision, in my opinion, is unacceptable, but it's down from where we were at last year. So again, that team and our normal beat rotation and making sure that we have officers that are available and responsive to the concerns of the North Fair Oaks community is extremely important to us. Another component of what we do as traffic enforcement or traffic safety is education, outreach efforts to the public. We now have a dedicated team of individuals that work within our schools. They're regularly out at Garfield School in the morning and the afternoon to assist with traffic control or traffic safety responsibilities there. And again, we work very closely with the men and women of the San Mateo County Sheriff's Office. And this Saturday, March 1st at 8 o'clock, we'll be having a safety seminar. Primarily focuses on child safety seats. That'll be at the East Palo Alto Home Depot. That's open to any persons who want to come there. Bring your child seat. We'll make sure that it's properly installed, show you how to install it, show you how to make sure that your child is properly restrained. And again, we've had some very, very significant feedback in that regard. So I can answer any questions that the council might have, but that concludes my report.
Captain, I really just have one question. I was wondering how the holidays were as far as DUIs and any arrests as far as speeding, because we had a campaign at the Siena Youth Center to make sure parents drove safely, where into, so I was wondering how it was out there.
I don't have specific numbers with me tonight, but we have a very robust program here in San Mateo County called Avoid the 23, and it's a collaborative effort of all the law enforcement agencies. Now, there used to be 23. The Sheriff's Department keeps gathering them up, so it's pretty much avoid the, 12 maybe now, but we work very closely together, and it's a great opportunity for men and women of other departments to get together with a common focus on traffic enforcement and DUI enforcement. Again, not having specific numbers, it's difficult for me to address, but I can tell you that this program has been very robust in my 27 years of law enforcement here in San Mateo County, and it's really important to us, and more than anything, it really makes the public aware that you're going to be out, you're going to be celebrating the holidays with friends, family members. Designate a driver or reach out to resources such as taxi cabs or friends, people who can get you to where you need to go safely, and you can enjoy the holidays and still have a good time and do everything that you want to do. And in as much as it's about enforcement, it's also about the educational aspect and making people aware. And it's very important to us to be able to carry that message forward the other 11 months out of the year, particularly with the warmer months coming up around the corner, 4th of July, Memorial, Labor Day again. It's really an ongoing effort that we want to focus and emphasize on. So, the holidays, off the top of my head, I can't think of too many significant incidents that were involving alcohol, but unfortunately, even the few that take place can have tragic consequences. So it's something that we do not take lightly. It's clearly a zero tolerance in this community and communities throughout California, and it's a significant part of what we do on the Highway Patrol.
Yeah, I know the community was really happy when they heard about that campaign, because they heard it through Garfield and Selby Lane this year, going right into vacation. So I just wanted to give you a good job
Thank you.
on that. It was good.
One thing I also wanted to mention when you mentioned the holidays is we had tremendous feedback. Is we had a holiday event at the California Highway Patrol office about a week before Christmas, and we really outreach to members of the North Fair Oaks community. We had Santa Claus arrive, we had our helicopter, we had fire trucks, we had members of the Sheriff's Department and the Redwood City Police Department in concert with the Highway Patrol. We were able to bring in snow. We should have saved the water when it melted, but we didn't. But we opened it up there was about 300 people in attendance at this event. Every child came away with a gift, and it was great. I mean, many families who probably wouldn't have been able to have access to something like that, we were able to reach out to. And again, it was very important through our partners with the Sheriff's Department, who really helped us identify some of the most needy families in the community, and to be able to do something very special for them. And the men and women who all participated from law enforcement and from public safety, whether it be fire, Sheriff's Department, CHP, really had a tremendous amount of just delight in seeing what their efforts could do, and it really allowed us accessibility for people who maybe aren't necessarily really receptive to law enforcement to recognize, we're people just like everybody else, and we care about their children, we care about our children, we care about doing the best thing that we can do for the community and doing what we can to make North Fair Oaks and San Mateo County and Santa Clara County, which I also handle in my office, just truly tremendous places to live, work, and visit.
Where was this event held?
It was held at the Highway Patrol office in Redwood City on Convention Way, and we hope to do it again. We've had some very generous support from some very generous people within the community that contributed to this and enabled us to do that, which otherwise would have been extremely difficult. I mean, there's no state funds. We can't just go out to Toys R Us and start buying presents on the state credit card. So maybe people have tried. That didn't end real well for them. But so with the collaboration between the private sector, private members of the community, and government agencies, it's just truly tremendous what can happen in the way of bettering our communities, bettering lives for many people within the community.
Would you consider having the party here this year? Or just, can you take that back? And
I can certainly take that back.
bring in tons of snow? I mean, we got a perfect spot. Just set it up right out there. That'd be kind of fun.
I'll certainly see what I can do with that. I can't again guarantee that that's,
I know.
it's
It's
kind of
just an
breaking a little
idea.
bit of tradition. I mean, it was something that the CHP did many, many years ago when I started my career in the Highway Patrol in Redwood City. At that time, it was primarily for members of law enforcement. It really wasn't a community event, and we tried to look to really change that to some degree, still making it accessible to the families of public safety, but recognizing that there are some very needy families. I mean, you have this very diverse dichotomy here in San Mateo County where we have some of the wealthiest people probably in the world side by side with some people that are very deserving, very needy, but disenfranchised, and making a partnership and being able to reach out and do something for those people. And I can tell you it's a great feeling, and it was a tremendous experience. One of my, some of my best memories I've had in all my years of law enforcement, aside from working with Sergeant Fanato, it was, it ranks right up there. So it was wonderful, and again, I really appreciate the time to be able to come to these meetings, express what we do, along with members of the North Fair Oaks community.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next on our agenda, we have a code enforcement report, but I'm not certain if we have anyone here to do that. No, we have, Anna is not here. I see that. I didn't know if anyone else was planning to take her place and prepare that or deliver that report. Okay, so we are not going to have a code enforcement report tonight. But we do have a report on the NFO Forward, which is the, it's all of you. Okay, I'm not, okay, so we have three.
We've organized it. How about, you understand what
All right, so-
I set up the table so we can all sit over there and present to you if that works, because we've got
Yeah.
figures to talk about.
okay, so we are going to hear from first Peggy Jensen,
Oh, they all want to sit over there.
and, everyone, all of you. I see. I thought you just meant the three of you, sorry. So we have, all right.
You're welcome to be comfortable. That's okay.
Then in that case, I will let you introduce yourselves as you take the microphone. How about that? To talk about NFO Forward. I thought it was going to be Carol.
Good evening, council members. My name is Peggy Jensen. I'm Deputy County Manager for Community Services, and here with me tonight are two members of our NFO Forward team. You are,
Ashley Quintana,
and
Elizabeth Dahlman.
we're very pleased to be here tonight to give the council their first North Fair Oaks Forward update. We have a variety of things to share with you, and a copy of our written report is included in the agenda packet in front of you. That document, yours I don't think is printed in green, but it looks like this. So what we're going to do is highlight for you some of the information in this handout, in this progress report, and also share with you and hopefully get your feedback on a couple of projects that we're currently working on. So what I'd like to do is start out with an update on the Middlefield Road redesign project. Many of you have been participants in both either or the planning or the zoning work group or the parking work group, which were looking at implementation steps for the North Fair Oaks Community Plan. Those work groups have been meeting for about a year, and their most recent assignment has been to develop some specific questions to take to the community at large around how they would like to see the design developed for the Middlefield Road. As part of that, and our staff, Ellie and Ashley in particular, with the assistance of Pat Brown and Lilia Ledesma, have taken those questions and formatted them into a survey that they've prepared in both English and in Spanish. And that survey is also in your packet in front of you. We've distributed to some of you the Spanish version and to some of you the English version. And because we are in the process of beta testing that survey, and we would appreciate your taking a few minutes to complete that survey and then give us your comments. While you're doing that, I would like Ellie or Ashley to tell us a little bit about how they're doing their beta test and what they've found so far.
So today marks the first day of our beta testing. We spent the afternoon at the library here next door. We administered about 15 surveys, just asking the participants if they understood everything that was written, if anything was confusing, to make sure that it was clear. And we will also be going over the responses tomorrow to make sure that if we need to make any changes and so forth. And this evening, we invite you all to participate. Take the next 5 to 10 minutes to fill out a copy of the survey for us, and we would love to hear any suggestions or comments that you have for us. So yeah, go ahead and fill out the survey. Yeah, it shouldn't be too fast. It's front and back.
I think, I don't know, but since we're being videotaped, maybe we want to just continue on, since not everyone who's seeing this can participate.
Well, and I can mention to those who are watching this evening, on the nfoforward.org website, you can access the survey under the NFO Forward tab. That we will have a SurveyMonkey link posted there that you can go ahead and fill that out.
Okay, while you're finishing up, what we would like to know, is there anything on the survey that either the English or the Spanish version that was not clear to you, that you feel could be presented more concisely, more clearly? And we'd also like to know if there are any particular questions that might have been omitted or that you would like to see added. We want to keep the survey short. We found that it takes between 5 to 10 minutes for most people to respond to, and we feel that's an appropriate length, the page front and back. But we certainly want to include anything the council might feel is important. I should add that the survey was developed initially by our planning and building folks, who worked very closely with both of those two work groups, and then it was fine-tuned by our NFO Forward team. So comments?
Yes, I have, right off the bat, the first thing I noticed is the Middlefield should be a 3-lane roadway. I'm familiar with what that means, but I can imagine that most people would not be understanding what that meant, that was a turn lane in the center. And I think it would be great if that was a little bit more clear, because a lot of people would think, what are you going to do with that?
Right, and actually the italicized says 3 lanes, 1 lane in each direction and a single central turn lane. So it has a description above.
I don't see that.
It says number 6, one possible major change is the reduction of lanes on Middlefield Road from the existing 4 lanes, 2 travel lanes in each direction to 3 lanes, 1 lane in each direction and a single central turn lane. So perhaps make it much more.
Or make that description right where the question is, because I kind of tended to skip over that, as I think a lot of people would, that text, and maybe put that more graphically or directly under the question.
One of the things we've thought about doing, and just don't have it as part of our beta test, but this is very helpful, is essentially having little picture postcards to show what 3 lanes might look like and what 4 lanes might look like.
Because it's too wordy, I think.
Yeah, the other, in a similar vein,
Okay.
the residential parking permits, I found myself really trying to scramble to visualize what this means about the different locations. In fact, I couldn't, unless you're really attuned to having a map in your head, which I think a lot of people are not, what does this mean? Where do these
Okay.
mean? So having a map, having this be more pictorial,
Okay, so anything more graphic or more
anything
visual
more
to help
graphic
people
is
see.
going to be
Okay.
helpful.
And
Great.
actually, if you're going to do something on permits, I know this is for the residential only, can you add something about meters for Middlefield Road? Or are you trying to just be real, I mean,
We did have meters, actually, but one of the departments thought it wasn't necessary to put at least for this survey, so it was taken off. But
that's huge. Being part of the parking work group, that's been a big discussion. So it's just something to add. And I agree with Laura that I had to stop for a second and think, okay, wait a minute, west of Middlefield, so you're only talking about the areas, the businesses along El Camino, I guess, or the area along oh, that's actually where your area is, west of Middlefield.
That's renew it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, the Chevy's area, Chevy's restaurant area, old Chevy's.
So
Okay, right.
Yeah, the concern, the residential permit areas is a concern that there might be spillover from Middlefield Road shopping into the residential areas. So if you live adjacent to that area, would you like to have permits in that area to help prevent people who
Right.
don't live in that area?
Right, but the
If
other
that's
thing
not
that
clear, we
comes
need to
up-
clarify that.
Yeah, I think that needs some, because the other thing that comes up, and for me, and I'm also somewhat familiar with it, which I think a lot of people wouldn't necessarily be, but this says you're typically talking about 2 permits per household and 2 hours. Now, I know many of the households there have 3, 4, and 5 cars. So if they are reading this, they're going to say, wow, that doesn't sound too good to me. Where am I going to park, or where are my guests going to park, especially if I have an overnight guest or something. So to spell it out like that without listing what some of the other options might be, I think would put a lot of people off.
Okay?
I purposely did this fast, and I read it fast. I pretended I was one of the parents I work with, that I just got off work, tired, and I did it fast because that's sometimes what type of people you're going to get these surveys. And after I did it fast, I went over it slow because it was in Spanish too. So I wanted to make sure that I understood it. I understood what I filled out. And when I did it fast, I was like, yeah, I was really excited, But then when I did it slow, I was like, oh, okay, so what if I have like 5 cars and I filled out, I don't know, there is a lot of people who have 6, 7 cars in this area. So I put under the commentaries, I put en áreas domicilias para la gente que tiene muchos carros, 4 carros por domicilio. So per household, you get a permit for 4 cars, kind of like what they do in Berkeley. You get a certain amount of permits per household, so that those are the amount of permits you have for the whole household. And I also put, I want to make sure that it's very apparent that we want more art in this community. So I think adding more, like I know it's arte, murales, esculturas, that's good, but I want some more powerful words there, I think, for the arts to be more present. And I think also for the beautification piece, how do I say the sculptures that go over the roads? What are those called? Pillars?
Entryways, entry arch?
Yeah, the arch. Some arches. I think that's another piece that we could add to this when I was reading slowly. So those are my suggestions.
Thank you.
So, yeah, to clarify on this permit thing, to just indicate that even if it's not only what the other options might be for parking, but obviously people are being encouraged to park in their garages and their driveways. That's why you might only have 2 permits. But again, spell it out a little bit more, or indicate that that permits might be available for purchase, or I'm not even sure how you say it, but say it so that it looks like there are some options rather than, this is it, what am I going to do?
But even, I'm thinking even so, even if you issue parking permits, we still need parking garages. Because I can assure you that most of the houses on 4th, 5th, 2nd, 1st Avenue, all the garages are rented. And there's a particular person that I know that lives on the block on 200, on 1st Avenue. There's 16 people living in two, there's a house with 2 rooms, additional rooms built in the back, and the garage, every single room is used. So that's a huge problem, not only the 2-hour parking permit per owner or per family for residential, but we need parking garages. Where? I don't see a room for parking garage nearby. Honestly, I don't think this is going to solve the problem. It's a huge problem.
I like question 2. It's good because it allows us to know how many people work, live, play, ride their bike, everything as far as who comes and goes in our community, because I don't think that's ever been tracked. And it's something that really needs to be tracked because population grows every day. And if we know a concrete number, it allows us to plan a little better as a county. So I like that. I like that question right there.
Other comments? Well, if there's, I'm sorry.
In the back.
Um,
For that one, you would pick, for number 8, you rate each of the topics there, being 5 most important or 1 least important. For that, you can pick all 5, and that's a good point, maybe encouraging them to potentially number them, like number 7, so they could give an order, or having them just pick one of them as 5, one of them as 4.
Yeah. So, yeah. The logic behind question 7 is that there's a limited amount of space between each building. And depending upon what the priorities are, that's how we're going to allocate lanes for cars, wider sidewalks, bike lanes. So we're asking you to say, what are the most important things? Question 8 deals with things that don't require limited space. It could be in a variety of places. So you could have all 5 of them be very important, because you could have street art, benches, bike racks, and trees, no matter what the width of the sidewalk or the width of the car lanes are.
I'm also asking, when you do the survey, do you help whoever is filling out the survey? Do you help them with the questions, or do you read the questions to them, or do they really understand?
So being the first day today, we were at the library, so it was a great place to first start because it was such a small space. What we did is we gave it to them and said, if you had any questions, please let us know. We were very close to them, but we gave them their space as well. And once we got it, do you have any questions? I looked at it and, is there anything that you have any doubts with? And most of them said it was fine. However, there is potential that we might have a survey and just have a group of people and just go with it, to do it together. That can be a potential way to give a survey to different types of groups.
Thank you.
Is there a way for us to add a question under, I'm going back to the arts piece. I love it, I'm sorry. For us to add, would you like North Fair Oaks to be an art destination in the future for the community? I know we have a festival every year, drives thousands of people here. And I just think about the Mission District and its art and its beautification of what they did there. Is there a way for us to add a question there where we can be like, do you want North Fair Oaks to be, an artistic, historic monument, something like that within this survey?
We'll work on it.
All right.
I just had one other comment. The whole residential parking permit section, to me, it's a little misleading because I understand the reason why it's there, but what should also be there is that to prevent, well, I think there should be something about, do you think we need a parking lot on Middlefield? Because the whole reason for this is because of any spillover into the residential area. But the solution is more parking on Middlefield. So it's a little kind of one-sided, or it's not the full, and I know you can only do so much with surveys, but just to give it a little bit more of a big picture on that piece, the reason they're being asked the question, what another solution would be, a parking lot or more parking. And this is like the second part of it.
Okay. We can put that into context a little more.
Yeah.
I think one way that you could put that more in context is to just mention that, this is something that's being considered, and in addition, and when you have the different areas where you ask, am I supporting residential parking here? I'm sorry, am I supporting residential parking permits here, here, or here? It almost seems like it would be easy to just say in general, in the surrounding areas and in the areas surrounding Middlefield, rather than say this area versus this area versus this area, because I'm thinking if I live in this area, I might say, yeah, put it over there, but not here. And if you just say in the areas surrounding Middlefield, first of all, you shorten your question a little bit, and it would just make it a lot easier to answer and simplify the overall design of the survey.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Any other comments? We will take all of this back. We're meeting tomorrow, actually, we're meeting Monday to finalize this, so we will be getting out in a variety of ways to get feedback on this survey from the community, and I'd like to turn it over to Ashley and Ellie to talk to you about some of our plans for doing that.
So as soon as we have the final draft of our survey ready to go, we have created kind of a work plan for the outreach efforts. Some examples of places that we plan to reach out and administer the survey include the Senior Center, the Community Center here, the Siena Youth Center. We'll also be going to Family Connections as well and dropping some surveys off there. Going to the library, HSA. We're also open to any suggestions that you all have in terms of, other places and people or groups to reach out to. Also on Middlefield Road, reaching out to the business owners, having them fill it out, as well as their customers. So any suggestions or...
Will you be making it available online?
And that as well, we will have a SurveyMonkey link on the NFO Forward website, and that will also be emailed out to other groups as well. So,
There's about, I think, 10 to 12 nonprofits here on site every day. So I would suggest that you also connect up with the nonprofits, and Terry Chin can introduce you. So I know there's like 10 or 12 on site, and then she has like about 20 that she has partnerships with, so that don't have office space, but they do their thing, throughout the week. So that's just another connection, I think, to make, because those people are connected to people, right, to clients, community members.
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would like to add a couple. The Hoover Field, I think just having probably a booth out there. There's always people there on the weekends, also every night playing soccer. That'd be a good location to get a lot of surveys. Sports House. The Sports House is a major outlet that you could use. There's people that go there all nights, every night to play sports. And I also think Redwood City Unified School District, parents, all the parent PTAs, the breakfast with principals, Yeah, I think those are all good resources that we can tap into to get more surveys.
Thank you.
Also, I was thinking of St. Anthony's Church on Sundays. I can even help you
That's-
going on Sunday.
Yeah, that's something I forgot to mention. We also plan to reach out to churches in the area, making announcements at the services regarding preliminary meetings leading up to the April 29th meeting, as well as for the April 29th meeting, and also to administer surveys after the services. So.
And after church, Chavez Market. I mean, either the Chavez Market across from Garfield, but mainly the one on Fifth Avenue at El Camino, packed with people every Sunday. And then plus you got that swim school over there, it's packed with people. I don't know how many of I don't know the customers that go there, but, I mean, the Chavez Market parking lot, oh my God.
That's a good one.
You get a lot of people.
Is there a way for, when you complete a survey, to get like a wristband that says you made a difference?
Oh,
We're trying to think about incentives. That's an interesting idea. We've budgeted some money for that, so that's a possibility. It kind of goes along with Carol and Supervisor Slocum's I Voted Today concept that they put together back when he was chief of elections, so great suggestion.
Yeah, that's a big thing with the youth. I mean, the kid, gets out of the grocery store, sees a booth, somebody says, hey, you want a I Made a Difference bracelet? Mom, he's going to go to that booth.
Great
You're going to
suggestion.
get 2 surveys. So, yeah, I would really go into that.
The only other point I'd like to share about our outreach effort is that we recognize that reaching out to the businesses on Middlefield Avenue is extremely important because this is going to affect them the most. So Lilia has started introducing Ellie and Ashley to the business owners individually along Middlefield Road. We have talked to, you've met a few folks. We're going to be going out one-to-one. We've also, we're in the process of ordering iPads for both of them. The survey will be on that iPad. And for business owners that are interested and willing, we'd be happy to have their customers fill out the survey while they're waiting in line. We've already been invited by the credit union to do that. So the goal is to reach as many people as possible. If you all have other comments on the survey, please feel free to email any of us. Or if you have any other suggestions on people or ways for us to get the survey out to the community, please let us know. So moving on from the survey, I'd like to talk a little bit about the meeting, what we're thinking about for the meeting on April 29th, which is kind of the culmination of the survey. The first point I'd like to make is that we intend to have 2 meetings. The 29th is a Tuesday night? Is a Tuesday night. We have reserved this room from 6 to 8 p.m. And we anticipate structuring the meeting in a kind of open house format. That means that people could come whenever they were available. We will have an introductory session where people will kind of get an overview of the project. That may, in fact, be in another room. And after they've had an introduction, and that introduction will be held probably in both Spanish and English on probably 15-minute basis throughout the evening, they'll come into this room where we'll have a series of stations. And those stations could include information about parking, information about streetscape design, information about public art opportunities, possible discussions around zoning, and possibly another station. We expect the stations to have to be interactive in the sense that people would have someone there that they could talk to about the issue, but they would also have an opportunity to express an opinion, whether it's like sticky dot voting on design types or types of art. It might be getting a picture of a roadway and figuring out what sort of drawing the lines or drawing where they'd like to see trees. It might be other opportunities. So we see it as being very interactive, something that people would rotate from station to station. In addition to having initial presentations in both Spanish and English, we have actually ordered and received the simultaneous translation devices. So those will be available. There will be childcare available, and there'll also be refreshments. In addition to the meeting on the 29th, we will also have a weekend meeting because we have heard that that's an important thing to do. We have not specifically picked the date yet, but it'll probably be the Saturday either before or after the 29th. So that's the plan for that, and that's what we're working toward. And all the information gathered through the surveys will be evaluated and presented as part of the introduction. And that meeting will be essentially to confirm the community comments and confirm a design proposal. So that sort of summarizes the outreach that we're doing around Middlefield Road and upcoming meetings. I think the next, and Ashley and Ellie have spent a significant amount of time on that, but the other thing that they've been helping Carol Marks with, who's done a wonderful job on the NFO website, that's going to be a very important tool for this project too. So Carol, do you want to demonstrate that?
But I was thinking that I would have them demonstrate this.
Or you could use one of these. Carol?
Yeah.
Oh, right here? Sure. Yeah. Got a bunch of them here.
Take that with you.
Pardon my back. Here we go. So first, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Chair Kaplan and everyone here. I have the lucky privilege of sitting before the website that we've worked on for several months, and everyone in this room has helped to develop it. It's really designed as a community resource and an opportunity to have many contributors. It's designed in such a way that different organizations can individually, from their own shop or their own office or from home, if they have come through the training, they can post information, they can update events, it'll all be funneled into the North Fair Oaks Forward outreach team, and we have the ability to post. So it's an exciting day we've been working on for a very long time. We wanted to have a website that was could be interactive. We wanted to have a website that had more life and was much easier to use so that it would encourage participation. We wanted to have one that would promote community, build community, and keep various pieces as a community connected. So I'll stop talking about it and start scrolling down so that you can see it, and I'll walk through some of the drop downs so you can see what those look like too. Right now you're actually looking at the Spanish version, and as I go up here to the English version, give it a second to refresh, and it's a mirror image of the Spanish, so they're both there. We have a slider image that we can change at any time. It's followed by a news panel. These are current stories. This one was submitted actually by the Siena Youth Center. And if you click on this link to read more, it takes you to a genuine news page and the story. And in this particular story, 5 links of student-created video that you can click and watch. So the homepage, the homepage always features 3, and if you see a little handle here, that means there's yet another story or more. And these can be moved to be timely. So this is a story that Linda Lopez posted on the work of the North Fair Oaks Council on illegal dumping.
That was the first time I did that. You kept it?
Yep, I kept it. It's still current. You're still working on it. So as you scroll down, we have some other news items that aren't in the featured box, but they are important and timely. There's a Twitter feed that's a shared Twitter feed, and we can continue to add community partner Twitter feeds to it. Right now, there's the sheriff, the school district, and Supervisor Warren Slocum contributing. It's followed by timely events, calendar events that are all linked. And your meeting, your latest meeting is always at the base of the homepage. And by clicking that, we can go to the January meeting. So that's the layout that people are going to face when they drop onto your page, onto your website. These drop-downs kind of are clustered together so that you can see kind of the work of the North Fair Oaks Community Council in the first section, and some history and demographics. And these sections can change and move. The next section is, and actually before I move on, I want you to see that people can find you.
Carol,
Yes.
the page that has Melinda Gates' quote, how come it's the same? Is that like a little, why is it the same
Quote?
I think
quote?
that's a photographer, huh?
It's actually one quote that's just been laid down on top of
So
the,
when you see a different picture, are you going to a new link?
no,
Oh,
it's
Okay.
just been made into a graphic.
okay. It's just one of those graphics that, what do you call that? Like a, no, you know, when you open a picture, like a show,
It's a
it
slider.
goes from what, right, a slideshow.
Yeah.
Is that what that, oh,
That's called a
okay.
slider.
Okay, all
Mhm.
right.
So
Oh, slider, that's it.
this is set up so that people can learn a little bit about the council and reach you, figure out who you are. And so I just wanted you to know that you're there. If there's anything that's needs to be fixed, please let us know. And similarly, your meeting schedule, your agendas, your materials, and your videos are also available online with information about when you meet. So it's easy to find. Similarly, the North Fair Oaks Forward has clustered their work in a drop-down so that people can find information. For example, in the Get Involved, this is one of my favorite features. They've got a form at the bottom that's interactive, that collects people's information, allows us to stay in touch with them, and invite them to do other things. So it's a terrific opportunity to connect and continue to build community. The newsletters are posted on this. So if you toss your paper and you want to go back and look at a newsletter, it's all there. The past ones will be archived. And another really important piece to this is called Your Thoughts, and although you can't really see it, it's in development, and Nimbus Design has been working on this with us. And it's our hope to be able to post a topic, for example, like parking, or for example, like vegetation and what you want, or parks and benches or whatever, and you'll be able to invite people to comment. And we can capture their comments, we can respond to them. There's a terms of use and privacy policy that have been set up so that we can also remove comments if they're, you know, not inflammatory, but defamatory, or there's a whole set of rules. Anyway, this is a very exciting interactive piece, and we had a lot of fun working on it. The news and press releases right now, there's only one press release, so I won't show you. And the community news is a collection of news stories that you can go and archive and see what we posted last year as we were learning how to build. The events and festivals, this is also a very rich piece. This is how events, it's like your calendar of events. This is how events post and look. Each of these are a link so that you can actually go and get more information about that particular event. The calendar is a moving calendar, so those are the dates in February. These are the dates in March. So, for example, that health enrollment fair that Irving spoke about earlier, that's on the 1st, is right there. So there's a little bit more information, and generally place more information if you need to contact the person that posted it. But you can see one of the things I like about this is that there's also such a variety. So you've got computer classes, you've got the Friendship Park prep days, you've got the library where kids go and read to dogs. It has a sense of community. It's not just about government and not about the parking study. It's about what people's lives are in this community. And yes, your meetings are part of the schedule. So these are actually easy to post. Caught on Camera is exactly that. It's a repository for videos and also for stills. Your council videos are clustered together, so if somebody wants to do some background research or you remember a conversation you need to find, they're all there. Haven't moved Raphael's videos from the youth into the community videos, but that's where they belong. And we have a handful of photos. Okay.
Carol, can you remind us, please, who's going to have access, who has access to post, and what's that process it goes, it's going to go through a screening process, correct?
It's a publishing process.
Oh, publishing process.
It's actually the opportunity to have your stuff looked at one last time, so you don't have a typo or a spelling error or a.
But also the content, a little bit, or?
If need be, but
Okay.
the goal is to help, hope that most people contribute sort of ready content. And we'd love it if people contributed in Spanish and English because we have the ability to post in Spanish and English.
Okay.
And it's a very pretty fast process. And as you can see, the site is designed to showcase images and just a little bit of text, and also to expand. And if you need a lot of space for text, to do that. But you can add documents, and you can add photos, and you can add
It looks good.
graphic pieces, links, and so it makes it really easy to use. There's also a way to let us know that something's broken, or if you have a question. There are FAQs. And we're really focusing on what North Fair Oaks Forward is because it's kind of an idea that's taking hold. And what I thought
The inspiration for that came from Laura, the FAQs.
I know we did send out that newsletter to about 1,200, and I wondered if you'd gotten any feedback.
I haven't heard a thing.
Okay.
But I would say this, that we're hoping to spread this, and so your support to help tell your communities that it exists would be most helpful. And secondly, it is a work in progress. I'm just going to have Ashley and Ellie come and talk a little bit and walk you through some of the companion pages that have been done in Spanish so you can see them. And they have done yeoman's work. I'm so pleased to be working with them on this. but then they can also talk about it in Spanish and kind of show you. But just please be patient with us as we get all of the site translated, and then we can begin to, keep it more current. But we've had a little bit of building to do. Do you want to come up and? And, oh, you asked the question too. So maybe I'll just answer your question about who's contributing.
Do you want me to say this in Spanish?
Yeah, just sit for a second. I'll answer this question. So it's not a closed network. So we can continue to add new contributors as people are willing. Right now, the school district, the sheriff, Supervisor Warren Slocum, of course, our office, North Fair Oaks Forward, Family Connections, the Sienna Youth Center, the Sienna Center for the whole organization, Redwood City 2020. I'm trying to think.
There were a number of, there's a training, so in order to be able to post, you have to go through sort of a little training on how to do it.
Right. And
What-
anybody is
repeat that.
welcome to come. We will have future trainings. We just wanted to start with a core group of people to see how it would work. And we wanted to kind of test it with them and make sure that people were comfortable. Wanted to figure out how to be publishers, if you will. And so it's a learning process, but it's not meant to exclude, it's meant to include.
So as Pat was saying, there are people, anyone who wants to contribute must go through the training.
Yes.
And we come to who to sign up for the training?
Me.
Carol, and that information is on the website?
It is.
Okay, because I think some members of the council were also part of that training. So council is another contributor.
Yeah.
That may be something that we should highlight, though, early in the site, that if you want to add. So this is all good.
A welcoming message, yeah. So Ashley?
Yeah, because I could see going down as we progress, the merchants having their own link, as things develop on Middlefield with them ripping out the road and all of that stuff going on, they may need that, to communicate what the updates are. PG&E might want to, do things to the neighborhood and stuff, so it's just, it's just open for so much, but it looks, from the first time I met over there at Harbor, it's come a long way. It looks really good.
Thank you. We worked hard.
Okay. Bueno, muy brevemente para nuestra audiencia que habla español. Bueno, Eli y yo hemos tenido la oportunidad de trabajar en la página de web en español. So, como pueden ver en la derecha arriba, pueden tener todo en español, y aunque estamos muy afortunadas de ser las traductoras principales, también hay mucho trabajo que hacer. Pero, por ejemplo, si ven el NFO adelante, que es básicamente NFO Forward, vemos que pueden involucrarse, la visión, sus opiniones. Hemos traducido mucho de lo material que pueden ver, pero hay mucho más que hacer. Entonces está en progreso, pero estamos muy entusiasmadas que está esta opción para la comunidad, que en North Fair Oaks es muy importante, ya que muchos hablan español y sería una herramienta muy esencial para saber y estar informados de lo que está pasando. Entonces, si tienen cualquier opinión o sugestiones, por favor, nomás nos digan, y esperamos que todo esté preparado para que la comunidad lo vea y que lo use frecuentemente. I don't know if you want me to say anything else. Por ejemplo, estamos cambiando muchas cosas, pero estamos pensando que esto debe estar en español. Entonces, básicamente todo lo que ven en inglés va a ser la información en español, que es mucho tiempo y muchas traducciones, pero ahí va. Ya estamos en el proceso. So, thank you. That's pretty much it.
Muy bien, gracias. The last two things I'd like to say are really thanks to my boss, Supervisor Warren Slocum, who said, yes, do this, and went and secured funding for us, and to the county manager's office for stepping up and making sure that we were able to do it in Spanish too, and for supplying the interns that have been able to really support this project, and for Pat Brown's consultancy contract. Very, very important. And I'd also like to recognize Arturo Samayoa of Nimbus Design, because this is we worked with him, and he created this beautiful site.
Very nice.
That's all.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you, Carol.
Couple of questions. Is this all being tested to make sure it flies well on smartphones?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. It was set up and designed to fly on smartphones. That was one of the criteria, because we knew that many families really just have phones and they don't really have all the rest of the gear. And especially young people, pretty much everybody has a phone. So that was one of the number one criterias.
And it looks just from scanning around that in the resource section, I think there's a big opportunity to have all sorts of useful contact information, what to do when a street light is out. And, there's a zillion things that are numbers that are frequently very difficult to dig up and ought to be very easy on a site like this.
Yes, I agree with you. I'm looking forward to the day that it's really easy to find. It was built with a search box. The search box is on the homepage, and a little bit on the left side. We kind of talked about whether it should have been on the left or the right, but point is it's there.
So there is or will be an opportunity to look at resources for things like code enforcement, dumping,
Yeah, that'll be
all those
good.
numbers or contacts that we're always hoping are easy to find. Great.
Yeah, very nice.
It's a work in progress.
I think it's a great move for the people of North Fair Oaks, and also for the county as a resource to have. And I think it's really good that the supervisor just wants to include everybody, of all ages too, which is something that's really good, because that's the ages that are going to be here for a while. And good job to the new hires. It's a lot of work. I know I do bilingual work. It's a lot of work, so keep up the good work.
So do we have more on?
Well, just a couple of quick things. I realize the hour is getting late, so I just want to give you a very quick update on some of the other projects under North Fair Oaks. The Park and Open Space Group, as you all know, had their meeting in January. The big push, and the most excitement is around Friendship Park. The other point I'd like to share with you is the fact that the health system and our Parks Department are working together on next steps, on what additional work we might be able to do in terms of contributing to the Friendship Park and also other possibilities. On illegal dumping, you pretty much had the update from Irving. Is there anything else, Ashley, you want to add? Yeah. Oh, the one other thing I'd add is that the county has has connected with the SFPUC, has ordered no dumping signs, 6 no dumping signs in both Spanish and in English that will be put up on the areas on the Hetch Hetchy right-of-way that are most frequently dumped on within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Awesome. So those will be up shortly. The Fair Oaks Health Center, as you all who drive by there have noticed, I'm sure, we have not completed the parking lot, nor has the old clinic been torn down. What's happening at the moment is our attorneys are in discussions with the council for the developer. Work is going forward, although it's not going forward as quickly as we had hoped, and we don't have a specific date, but all I can tell you is that councils are in discussion, so that's where that project is. Also, another project under NFO Forward is our North Fair Oaks Library project. As you all may recall, we got $500,000 in Measure A money that was to be matched, $3 of Measure A money to $1 of city money to make improvements to the North Fair Oaks Library. We've been meeting, a team of folks from the Redwood City Library and from the County Human Service Agency, which share their building just across the way, have been meeting for the last 3 months with an architectural team, Huntsman Architectural Group, to develop some plans to both increase the space, the library space, and also create a common lobby area. We have 2 options that are currently under review by the staff of both the library and HSA, and if staff find those options feasible, we're going to be going out to get pricing for both, and then we'll be taking those prices back to both the city and the county management for consideration. And finally, Ellie's been working on the public art work group, and she'll give you an update.
So I'm very excited to announce that we have planned our first public art work group meeting for March 10th at 1 p.m. It will be held the second Monday of every month. And we will be discussing ideas and opportunities for public art, both on Middlefield Road, as well as the 4 entrance signs that are in development. And we will be probably holding the meeting in the afternoon in March, and then we'll also be trading off in the evenings as well to ensure that all who are interested are able to attend.
Where is it?
And it will be held here at the North Fair Oaks Community Center in Classroom 1, I believe.
Thank you.
That concludes our report, and we'd be happy to answer any other questions you might have.
Is the website live as we speak?
It is,
all right.
and you have the URL there. We forgot to mention on a handout that we gave you, an info sheet on NFO Forward that's about the size of a third of a page on a little kind of, exactly, yes, what Linda's holding up. Yeah, we created that as a sort of a handout to give out to any of our partner organizations or anyone really representing or who's working in partnership with the NFO Forward initiative, just so that it provides some main points to mention when we're describing or explaining what NFO Forward is.
Can you share the stories on Facebook that are created?
On the website?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll definitely, I'll write that down. And we're in the process of creating an NFO Forward Twitter account as well.
Okay.
So, and Instagram.
Can I ask a question? How come you're not using community plan anymore in any documents? What happened?
How come, I'm sorry, Linda, how come
Well, I know North Fair Oaks Forward came to be as a result of the process of implementing the North Fair Oaks Community Plan, but you don't use those words anymore. I don't see that anywhere.
The community plan,
Yeah,
you mean? Well,
yeah.
what we've done
I'm
is...
just wondering what you're doing, or what happened.
So we see the community plan implementation. The development of the community plan was actually called North Fair Oaks Now. So and that's what the planning and building folks said. The concept behind it was called North Fair Oaks Now. And as we move forward to implement the plan, the concept was developed by Supervisor Slocum, was to create a brand called North Fair Oaks Forward, under which we take all of the projects that will be implemented under the plan and consolidate them so people can see the clinic and the parks and Middlefield Road are all working together as part of a big plan implementation.
You can access the
Pat?
plan on the website too.
Yeah, but there is a link on their website to the plan.
Oh, okay.
I just would add to that. I think we're very sensitive in trying to tie together the plan and other projects that may have been initiated before the plan was developed, like the health center or some of the Middlefield Road work. So we're trying to, I think, brand all the positive activities that are going on in North Fair Oaks as North Fair Oaks Forward. But when we get to the second explanation, we who are doing the presentations are mentioning the North Fair Oaks plan as really the vital driver behind a lot of the work that's happening.
Yeah, I don't see it anymore. I don't see the text anymore.
I think so. I think we could add it into
just
our
wondering,
elevator
you know.
speech. It's probably in the 30-second or the longer speech. What we gave you here was just what could roll off people's tongues.
I know North Fair Oaks Forward, of course, it's that process of, it includes like all the actual projects and the actual work, the activities, but I just don't want to lose that there's an actual community plan.
So it's
we'll make
mentioned
sure
on
we
here, but
include
maybe
that.
not on the
Yeah,
website.
okay,
Is that what
anyway,
you're
it's
saying?
just something.
Not on the
No, I was just
website.
looking at this and commenting on that.
I think just to add to that, I think some framework is what you're asking for, right? Some like a logic model into the development of this idea. So like, we started with the plan, now we're at forward, and then we're into the implementation stages of other things. So I think a logic model is what you're seeking, some framework behind it.
We actually have,
Okay.
I mean, if
I
you
think
live,
it's just a picture,
once you have a
right?
chance to visit the website, we actually have a part where it says the vision, and it says about the implementation process, and it gives you a very detailed just explanation of it all. And also it's in Spanish, which we summarized it completely. Nellie has been working on the translation, so it'll be up very shortly, too.
Okay, thank you.
So we are going to talk about that. So we have one more, we actually, to get to our regular agenda, we have one very important item yet to discuss tonight. So are we complete with this?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Actually, before, if you all could collect their surveys, so we make sure we.
Yeah,
get
I'll
them.
give you this.
We'll give them
in
our
your
surveys.
hand.
It's kind of
get
a
lost.
mess there.
Thank you.
So the important item that we have on our agenda for tonight is the election of officers for the North Fair Oaks Council. And I noticed that on the North Fair Oaks Forward website, it shows that our chair is Linda Lopez and our vice chair is Rafael Avenado. How do you say? Avendano, sorry.
And secretary.
And, well, I just saw those too on this website. And so we need to see if we're going to make that come true. Because currently I'm the chair and the vice chair is Dale Miller. But tonight we are set to vote on the nominations that happened last time we met. And as it happened, the nominations included a single slate, which is why I think there was so much certainty on the part of the people doing. So up for vote, and at this point, theoretically, anyone else could be put forward as a write-in, I assume. But up for the vote tonight is the nomination of our chair being Linda Lopez, our vice chair being Rafael Avendano, and our secretary
Beatriz.
Beatriz Cerillo. I wasn't remembering exactly. Sorry, not your name, but whether you were the one. Okay, so it's a whole month ago. All right, so I think that what we could do, unless someone else has an objection, is we could just vote on the slate as a whole. But first, I want to ask if there is any other nomination that anyone would like to put forward tonight, other than those already stated. No?
Chair, vice chair, and secretary.
Chair, vice chair, and secretary. We hadn't been voting on secretary before, so this is a new procedure. So if I hear no other nominations, I will entertain a motion to vote on the entire slate as was given and nominated and given in the minutes from last, was it last meeting?
Yes.
It's last month's meeting. Thank you. Is there a motion?
I'll motion to, that we accept the slate as stated.
I second the motion.
So we have a motion and a second to accept the slate as stated. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Do we have, could we have a raise of hands? I couldn't hear everyone.
Aye.
All right, so I believe that is unanimous. We now have a new chair of the North Fair Oaks Council, Linda Lopez.
Thank you very much.
And with 5 minutes to go in our meeting, or you can adjourn anytime you want because it's now yours, I will turn over the microphone. Oh, you have your own microphone. I'm going to turn over the meeting to Linda.
Actually, I'm looking forward to serving as chair of the council. And I think we're moving in a very good direction. And as Carol, you always say, it's a work in progress. This is a work in progress. And it's an honor to work with everybody here. Thank you very much. And I think I'll actually call for a motion to adjourn.
I'll motion that we adjourn.
I second that.
I just want to add something.
Okay, let's hear from
Okay, Rafael.
You know, as a vice chair, I look into representing the people of this community, and I'm very fortunate to be a part of this leadership group. I call it a team, and I want to say that in Spanish too. Estoy bien entusiasmado en ser parte de este equipo, como el vice chair de este equipo para el concejal, y quiero ser parte de esta comunidad y ayudarles a todos y hacer cambio juntos. So, por favor, vengan a todas estas juntas y queremos ver más gente aquí apoyando y hacernos diferencia para todos. Gracias.
Beatrice, did you want to say anything? No. Okay, all right. It's been a long night. Okay, so we have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right, well, thank you very much, everybody. Good night.